Guys, breaking news. We got the first teaser trailer for the Godzilla movie that is coming out in November. It's so awesome. I just gotta show it to you guys. Yeah, I think I'll just show you the teaser trailer in the beginning, and after that I will start breaking it down for you guys.
Godzilla -1.
So the first thing we see is just that guy who edited the trailer telling us that this movie is set in the post-war, after the Second World War in Japan. And yeah, Japan was pretty much fucked up. I think you all had history lessons. We'll go into a bigger detail after that. And yeah, it's not something that new, because if you already watched information, read the information about this movie, you should have already known that it's set around 1946, 1947, yeah, just after the World War II. But it's still something cool. This shows that they're really focused on this thing, and yeah. Then we get to see the first actual scene in the movie, and it's this church or building in general that is collapsed, and everything behind it is also just destroyed. And I think this is a very good looking shot, not just because the destruction looks very realistic and everything. It really feels like late 1940s or early 1950s. The buildings and everything, this is very well done. After that, we see a shot of destruction from above, which really shows how powerful Godzilla is and how destructive he is. And it's kinda also impressive to see this shot. It looks pretty good, yeah. And then we also see the director and writer, and yeah, guys, let him cook. This dude is pretty much creating one of the best Godzilla movies that ever existed. Let him cook, bro. Then we see some people standing in front of destruction. It's a crowd. I think they are protesting against something, maybe against the Japanese government, I'm not sure. And however, yeah, based on the clothes the people are wearing and based on the remains of buildings that aren't destroyed that much, you can really see that it's in the 1940s, 1950s, something like that. So late 1940s, early 1950s. You really feel like you are in that era. And then we see a shot that says from 0 to minus, which pretty much sums up what I think could be this movie. So basically, Japan was fucked up after the Second World War. The atomic bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima pretty much made them bankrupt, and everything was destroyed. They were really in a bad financial situation. Not only financial, I mean, probably also mental, but yeah, they were generally fucked up. And then in this movie, Godzilla shows up and starts running amok and destroying everything. That would be terrifying. They will go exactly like this a shot is saying, from 0 to minus. And I can't even think how the Japanese people would even be able to fight against Godzilla after that situation that got caused by the World War. I don't see how there can be a happy ending for the people. Maybe there isn't gonna be a happy ending in this movie, I don't know, but that's really something impressive and something that they are probably really gonna focus very, very well and very detailed, how Japan was fucked up after the Second World War, which is something to think about, really. It's something important people have to think about. And then we see the most important thing about the Godzilla movie, Godzilla himself. And we also see him actually in action, and it's looking so good. So first we see him actually destroying some buildings with his tail. The destruction looks actually pretty realistic, which is good. Then we see a train getting destroyed. Maybe it's a reference to the 1954 movie where Godzilla, also chomps down on a train. It would be cool if we see something like that happening, just like a tribute to the old movie. However, then we see people running away. We see Godzilla walking and actually breaking in the cement, which is an interesting detail. I don't think it's something very important or cool for some people. It was something I was always quite wondering. Like Godzilla in most movies just like walks on the streets and just destroys buildings, but the streets never looked really destroyed or anything. Like Godzilla never broke through the cement, which was also always kind of weird. Like, Godzilla is so heavy, how can he not damage the cement? And in this movie, we see actually him like sinking in the cement, destroying everything with people flying around and everything, which is something that is just a useless detail for many people, but for me, it's kind of cool. And then we see a lonely child just searching for its parents. This is something that I don't know if it was intention, but it's kind of representing Japan in that situation. There was chaos around them, and Japan couldn't really do anything. There was nobody to help them. It is looking pretty good. Yeah, I don't think this Easter egg was intentional, but it's kind of symbolic. Then we see the title reveal, and the title is quite similar to Godzilla 0, but not quite the same. It's Godzilla -1. We already talked about it. I think this is like the reference to how Japan was at 0 and then Godzilla brought them to -1. And this is just a very cool title. It's interesting. It's not like a title that I would call perfect, but it's kind of symbolic. It's symbolizing the full movie, so it's not bad at all, actually. Then there is a microscopic shot of Godzilla jumping down on the train, as I theorized before, just like in the 1954 movie. And we see a better shot of the Godzilla design itself, and it's the perfect Godzilla design. It's really perfect. It's like similar to a mix of all other Godzilla designs that have existed before, and it just looks perfect. I don't have any issues about this. It just looks perfect. Then we get the release date, which you might think is not that important, but it is. You see, this is the American trailer, which says the movie is coming out the 1st of December. The 1st of December is not that much, actually, because the original movie in Japan is coming out the 3rd of November. In Shin Godzilla, for example, came out 2 months, in the US came out 2 months after the Japanese release. This is just 1 month, which means we are getting it pretty much not that far away from the Japanese release, which is very, very good. In Europe, where I live, we had to wait 10 months for the Shin Godzilla to release after the Japanese release. And in this case, we might even get it around March or April, which, yes, it is quite a bit of waiting, but it's not an exaggerated amount.